Let's pull back the curtain on a language that you use every single day, probably without even realizing it. It's the hidden engine, the secret sauce behind pretty much every app on your phone. We're talking about SQL.
I mean, really think about that for a second. Your social media apps, your online shopping carts, your streaming service, they all have to keep track of a mind-boggling amount of information. Your likes, your viewing history, your friends list, how on earth does it all stay organized and pop up instantly when you need it?
Well, the answer is a powerful little language called SQL, which stands for Structured Query Language. You can think of it as the universal translator for having a conversation with databases, those massive digital brains that store pretty much all the world's information.
Okay, so what exactly is SQL, and how does it actually work? To get that, we first have to understand the world it lives in. We need to talk about databases. The best way to picture a database is to imagine a giant digital filing cabinet. It's perfectly organized, and inside, all the information is stored in tables, which look a whole lot like spreadsheets. And SQL? Well, that's the language we use to walk up to that cabinet, find the exact file we need in a split second, and even add new ones. And this isn't some niche, obscure language. SQL is the standard. You're looking at some of the heavy hitters right here. From MySQL to Postgres, it's the language spoken by all the major database systems that power the world's biggest companies. From tech giants to banks, it is truly a universal language.
So how do we actually talk to these databases? Well, SQL gives us a set of commands that are best thought of as a toolkit, where each tool is designed for a very specific job.
And it all boils down to three main types of jobs. First, you've got commands to define the structure of your data. That's basically building the filing cabinet itself. Then you have tools to manipulate the data, putting files in or changing them. And then, the most important part, you have a way to query the data, to ask very specific questions and get answers.
First things first, you can't file anything away if you don't have a cabinet, right? That's our first step. Using a command like create table, which you see here, we're basically giving the database a blueprint. We're saying, hey, I need a new table called employees, and it needs to have columns for things like ID, name, and department.
Okay, our cabinet is built. Now it's time to actually put something inside it. With a command like insert into, we can add a new row of data. It's just like sliding a new employee file for someone like John Doe right into our newly built employees table.
All right, so we've built our cabinet and we've put some files in it. That's great. But the real power, the magic of SQL, is getting that data back out in a way that's actually useful. This is where we go from just having a bunch of raw data to having real insights. And the absolute star of the show here is the select statement. This is the workhorse of SQL. It's how we ask the database to show us stuff. With this simple command, we're saying, hey, database, just show me the name and salary for every single employee you've got.
That's a good start, but let's be real. What if our company has thousands of employees? We don't want to see everybody. We need to be way more specific. We need a way to filter our results.
And for that, we use the where clause. It's that simple. By adding where department equals IT, we're telling the database to only show us the rows that match that exact condition. And just like that, a huge list becomes a very specific, very useful answer.
Okay, another really common task. We've got all the salaries, but how do we find out who's at the top of the list? Right now, all that data is probably just in some random order. So simple. We just add the order by clause. This tells the database to sort everything based on a specific column, in this case, salary. And that little keyword DESC just means descending, so it puts the highest salaries right at the top for us. You see? We're not just grabbing data, we're telling it to organize itself exactly how we need it.
This brings us to a concept that really unlocks the true power of SQL. So far, we've only been looking at one table at a time. But in the real world, data is rarely that simple. It's often split up into different places, and that's where joins come in to save the day.
You see, to keep things fast and organized, databases often split related information across different tables. So, for example, you might have one table just for employee names and another, completely separate table, just for department names. Let's look at how that works. Notice the employees table on the left? It doesn't actually say IT or HR. It just has a dept_ID. Then, the departments table on the right is what links that ID number to the actual department name. That shared ID is the key that connects them. So how in the world do we bring them together? We use an inner join. This command is like telling the database,
Hey, I want you to look at both of these tables, and wherever you see that depth ID match up, I want you to combine those rows. It's like putting two pieces of a puzzle together.
And voila! The result is one single unified view. Now we can see an employee's name right next to their full department name, even though that information started out in two totally separate tables. This ability to connect the dots is the foundation of almost every complex app you use.
So you might be wondering, with all the fancy new technologies out there, why is this language, which has been around for decades, still so incredibly important today?
It's because SQL is the absolute bedrock of data. It's unbelievably efficient at handling massive data sets. It's a universal standard, which means if you know SQL, you can work pretty much anywhere in the tech industry. For data analysts, for web developers, for so many jobs, it's not just a nice skill to have, it's the engine running everything in the background.
Ultimately, that's really what this is all about. Data on its own is just a collection of facts, of numbers and words. SQL is the key that lets us ask questions, find patterns, and turn all that raw data into meaningful stories and actual insights.
So the next time you use an app, remember, there's this silent, powerful language connecting all the dots behind the scenes. Data is everywhere. And with SQL, you hold the key to unlocking its secrets. The only question left is, what questions are you going to ask?